Welcome to Fun with Failure TIFU. With the rise of AI, I decided to introduce this segment for our up-and-coming robot overlords by closed captioning this in binary. I have 3 stories from TIFU I hope you enjoy, so here we go. Alrighty, so to sum it up before we go any further, this story contains copious amounts of alcohol, bipolar medication, not eating, and the aftermath that nearly resulted in me vomiting on a pizza delivery guy, but ending up in something so much worse. So to give you some basic backstory, I just gone from unemployed to working roughly 8-hour shifts in a facility. The first couple of weeks were fine, but because I have a habit of eating only basic staple foods like instant noodles, bagged salad, and stuff of that nature, which comes from being used to a low income, it took a toll on me. So I started drinking energy drinks to keep myself going. There is a point in mentioning this. So basically, because I'm not used to these hours, and it's completely changed my whole schedule, I've been forgetting to take my medication, and I've been forgetting to eat. So I've been going nearly 10 hours at a time on energy drinks and water, while doing physically intensive work for 8 hours. This isn't good for your body or your mental health. Adding alcohol to the mix makes it even worse. So this is what I did. On my way home, I buy 2 bottles of the cheapest and nastiest alcohol, that being 1 1/4 liters, which also consisted of 8% alcohol. And I go home. I ate before I started to drink, which for me is pretty rare, but whatever. So I start drinking. In about 2 hours, I open up the second bottle. Huge mistake, because I knew it was going to make me sick, but I stupidly told myself that if I order some pizza, I'd be fine. So I order the pizza, and I get halfway through the second bottle when the phone starts ringing. And I'm so far gone, I can't even understand the guy on the other side. When I finally realized he was there to deliver the pizza, I go out, nearly vomiting all over him, and he offered to call me an ambulance. I tell him that I'll be just fine, then I proceeded to poop all over myself, and it started running down my leg. So running on energy drinks, then drinking insane amounts of alcohol is not a good idea, especially after you've realized you have forgotten to take your meds. And you take them while you're drinking, which in most cases doubles the effect of the alcohol. So I quickly take my food and thank him before rushing to the bathroom. As soon as I get into the stall, shared bathroom in a rooming house, I drop my pants and I shower the toilet with you know what. Then I'm like, oh crap, how am I gonna clean this up? I can barely stand. Somehow I managed to do it. And then I'm stuck with the precedent of how to get back to my room without putting my crappy pants back on. I managed to do that, and it was a miracle. So then I was like, alright, I need a shower. I thanked Dionysus that no one had gone into the restroom yet. So as soon as I get in the shower, I empty my stomach all over the stall. I mean all over the stall. I fill the basin twice, and I had to unclog the drain. None of my housemates has said a word, although I think the property manager might have one with me soon. Moral of the story, look after yourself, because 1 or 2 stupid decisions could lead to really big consequences. I have no doubts at all that if I hadn't been so lucky with the bathroom and not passing out while cleaning everything up, I'd been evicted on the spot. I need to start eating real food and taking my meds regularly. This actually happened several years ago, back when I was a young lad with my super sweet Mitsubishi Galant and a screw-off attitude. And I was also really obsessed with the opposite sex. So in other words, your standard stupid teenager. So I'm heading to my friend's house to ding around, when I had to stop into the gas station to fill up on the way. This gas station was right on the side of the road in a small residential type area, so it was really easy to pull in, fill up, and get right back on my merry way. Just as I pulled in my stock cherry red Mitsubishi Galant, really can't emphasize enough how normal and unimpressive this car was, even though I thought it was awesome at the time. A stunning blonde girl pulled up beside me at the other pump, and she proceeded to start to fill up her tank. Being the ultra cool, super suave teenager that I was, I winked at her, and I waved a sly little wave, and I gave her my signature smile. Much to my chagrin, she just chuckled to herself and looked away, obviously not interested. So I thought, well, she's gonna see exactly what she's missing out on after I peel out of this gas station. I'll show her that I'm totally awesome. And in my stock 4-cylinder Mitsubishi Galant, obviously rides the line between civility and chaos. I know, I've heard a comedian comment on this. Seriously, I guess I expected her to run up towards my car, waving her hands, asking me to stop because she was so impressed? I don't know. Teenage me was really dumb, you guys. I hopped into my car, turned on the gas, and hightailed it out of there. And when I almost got to the curb, I heard a loud whoomp, followed by a clang, 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 slap, slap on the right side of my car. Perplexed, I looked into my right side rearview mirror to see that the nozzle and most of the hose was flapping merrily in the breeze. I stopped immediately, turned around, and drove back into the parking lot. All the while, the blonde-haired goddess was laughing hysterically, leaning on her car, and I thought I saw tears rolling down her cheeks. I took the nozzle and the hose into the gas station and handed it to the attendant. I think this belongs to you guys. And then I walked back out to my car. The attendant looked absolutely dumbfounded, like I just slapped him with a fish. The girl by this time had gotten control of herself, and I winked again as I passed by, as if to say, see what kind of guy you could have had? This guy, who's an obvious idiot. To this day, I can't recall a more embarrassing single incident in my life. Thankfully, it was in front of strangers, and I, of course, have avoided that gas station ever since. I hope you all can feel a little bit better about yourselves, knowing that likely you have never been so brash as trying to destroy a gas station pump by trying to impress a member of the opposite sex. This starts off with me having to drop my wife off at work, but due to a dead old battery, I had to borrow a vehicle from my neighbors. The road I live on is almost like a long driveway, in that there are only 3 other houses on it. So to borrow the neighbor's car, I had to walk about 1/3 of a mile to get there, then pick up my wife and then take her to work. I took off of my normal work to be able to work on the car, so I go and pick up some essentials: a battery, 5 quarts of oil, a gallon jug of windshield wiper fluid, and a filter. The coffee I had earlier was starting to make its magical journey through my body, thus loosening my bowels and causing major pains for relief on my return trip home. Wiggling and squirming around, I finally made it to my neighbor's residence. I thanked them for allowing me to use their car. They mentioned they had some plumbing problems, so I decided since they were nice enough to loan me their car, I could help them out, since I was an experienced plumber. Due to pride and a bit of embarrassment of using someone else's bathroom, I decided not to ask to use theirs in favor of using my own. So after finishing with checking the plumbing issues, I packed up all my paraphernalia. I headed for the long walk home. I severely underestimated the weight of the battery and the other items. You see, the battery was 50 pounds, and it was very awkward to carry, especially since it didn't have a handle. Plus the fact I had 5 individual bottles of oil, a filter, and a gallon jug of washer fluid. Exercise tends to make trips to the restroom become more of a possibility for most people, and I was no different. The urge finally decided it wasn't going to wait, regardless of how clenched my butt cheeks struggled. Now it was a losing battle, so I made a split decision of desperation. I eyed a location in the woods close to the road. I barely made it in time to drop the boys off in a nice secluded corner of the woods, so I thought. Unfortunately, with nothing to wipe, I had to traverse the last of my trek without a clean backside, which was significantly more dirty by the efforts of holding back the oncoming stampede to minimize the damage to my undergarments and try to walk carefully back up the road. It was starting to drizzle rain about that time, as well as my pants were deciding that a belt should have been used to hold them up. So I was doing this juggling act between holding all these awkwardly heavy objects and to occasionally stop to maneuver my hand around to a belt loop to pull my pants back up, while still maintaining a grip on my items. Due to the amount of times I was having to pull up my pants, I tried walking bow-legged to give me a wider base and to help me keep my pants up. This made the trip slow and time-consuming, and I only barely managed to keep my pants above my back cleavage. As I saw my vehicle in sight, I decided to throw caution to the wind. I made a mad dash for the car, and only just made it as my pants gave up the fight and decided to keep company with my ankles. This made me trip in the process, and I face planted into a back window of my car. I was fortunately close enough to the car's door to slide the objects into the floorboard. All the while, my soiled crack was exposed to the outside. After I returned indoors, I realized my pants weren't in a state of reusability anymore, and when I picked up my wife, we stopped by the neighbors to thank them again for allowing us to use their car. They thanked me for the help with the plumbing, and told us to be careful walking along the road, and this is because her dogs got into a wild animal's poop between her house and ours, and she had a difficult time cleaning it off their faces. Plus, it smelled particularly bad. Oops. If you enjoyed these stories, please leave a like and subscribe for more. All stories from Reddit and other external sites are linked in the description below. If you have any stories you'd like to share, you can send it to my email at funwithfailure@gmail.com. And for just $1 a month at Patreon, you can get advanced audio broadcast. The link is in the description.